Okay.
And now I joined in ACCA.
You joined in
ACCA.
ACCA. Okay.
Yeah, pursuing. So I have thought of why don't you try for all courses so that that will help me like that. Then I decided to join CME as well now.
Okay.
So both I am going to pursuing.
Okay, great. So both are in industry and in accounts department, right?
Yes, sir. Finance department. Yeah.
Okay, finance department rather. So there won't be any complexity in understanding the laws and regulations for you people. It's just a shaping of the things, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. உங்க செஷன் இங்கிலீஷ்ல இருக்கட்டுமா இல்ல தமிழ் here and there it's okay.
Yes, sir. நீங்க அக்ரி பண்ணலாம் சார். தமிழ்னு இருக்கலாம் உள்ளார. மிக்ஸ்டா பேசலாம் ஒன்றும் இஷ்யூ இல்லை சார். அதான் நல்லது எங்களுக்கு.
So whatever the things which can be tell in Tamil, I'll also support. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll just share my screen. That. So you're able to see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So let us go with the slides for today's thing. So since you are in the finance department, the basic questions and all, what is tax and everything and all. Are you working in the in your department? Are you looking for any GST filing of returns or something like that?
No, sir. Actually, we have a separate taxation department is there. Even though they are taking care of everything, we are just coordinated with them, because partially they're reporting to me to do some month closing activity.
Okay.
So I have only in the top of the idea, but the direct tax we are only doing.
Okay, direct tax we are only doing.
Yeah, we are only filing everything. But indirect tax, there is already a separate team is there for GST.
Okay.
So that is the only issue.
Okay. Just 1 minute, I'll just put my earphone. Okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
Sorry. No?
Yes.
Okay. Just 1 minute. Okay, the PPT has been prepared for the beginners also, and certain few things which has been presented here. So you for you it's also a recap of things. Okay. So first, what is tax? Tax is the primary source to the government. Okay. Without tax, the government cannot run because it's a primarily contributing the revenue to the government. With that, the government is spending money for the public related healthcare, education, employment, and social security like that. So apart from tax, what is the major other revenue that government is getting? Any idea? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Apart from the taxation, both indirect and direct tax, any other revenues for which the government is getting?
The transport,
Sorry?
transport,
Transport, okay.
electricity.
Okay. So all the government undertaking sector, right?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
sir.
Okay, fine. So prima facie 60% is coming from the tax, okay? So our tax structure in India, we can bifurcate into two, as you know, it's a direct tax and indirect tax. Direct tax, mainly the Income Tax Act is coming into picture, and whereas indirect tax, there are two acts which is lying now, which is Goods and Service Tax and the Customs Duty. The direct tax is basically governed by CBDT, Central Board of Direct Taxes. The indirect tax is being governed by the Central Board of Indirect Tax and Customs. So these are two bodies which governing the tax in India. Okay, I'll move on to the next slide. So again, we need to understand certain basics on the taxation. So I just presented these slides for you people. According to the Constitution of India, Article 246 read with Schedule 7. The tax laws can be divided into three categories, list 1, 2, and list 3. In the list 1, the central government has power of legislation on tax laws. The central government can create the tax laws under list 1, and the state government can create the tax laws under list 2, and both center and state can create the tax laws in list 3. So before GST, the central government has created the tax laws like income tax is still with central government, custom duty, central excise, central sales tax, wealth tax, and service tax. All these taxes were framed by the and controlled by the central government. However, the state government controls all these the below mentioned tax like value added tax, professional tax, tax on agricultural income, excise and countervailing duties on alcoholic liquor for human consumption, entry tax on motor vehicles, and entertainment tax, etc. So this is just an Article 246A. It's read with Schedule 7, disclosing the what are the tax laws and created by whom. Okay. Shall I move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll first see the direct and indirect taxes. From the meaning point of view, the direct tax is being levied on person's income and is being directly paid to the government, which means a classic example, salary income. Whoever salary is earning, the taxes has to be paid by that particular person. However, in indirect taxes, the tax is being levied on a person who consumes the goods and services and is being paid indirectly to the government. Here, if you see, I am selling a product to end user. The end user is paying tax and I am remitting directly to the government. The tax is being paid by the consumer, but indirectly it is paid by me to the government, the tax portion. So that is a difference between direct and indirect tax with respect to meaning. And nature, it is a progressive in nature. If you see the indirect tax, if I earn more income, I have to pay more tax. If I'm earning very lesser income, I have to pay less tax. But whereas in indirect taxes, it is regressive in nature, which means irrespective of the higher income or lower income of the people, the product, whatever the indirect taxes remain same for all kinds of people. The next, incidence and impact. The direct tax falls on the same person, whereas in indirect tax falls on different persons because the end consumer also is there and the supplier also is there. Example of direct tax is income tax, whereas in indirect tax is GST and customs duty. Imposition and collection. That government is imposing the direct tax on myself and I am only paying and the government is collecting from myself only. Whereas in indirect tax, imposed and collected on customer and remitted by the another person, which I have already told you. When the tax is being collected, the event, taxable income of the person, direct tax is being collected on the taxable income of the person, whereas indirect tax is being collected on supply of goods or services or both. So these are the differences between the direct tax as well as the indirect tax. Any questions or shall I move on?
So still wealth tax is in the place, sir?
Sorry?
Wealth tax. The
Wealth
previous
tax
slide,
is not there.
that's right. On the previous slide, I think
Previous slide, wealth tax was formed by the central government, controlled by the central government.
Oh,
So these are the 246A, and that initially the central
Okay.
government has power to create these laws.
okay. Now it's
Now,
abolished.
now it's not available. This is the old slide I am putting
Okay, sir.
for GST.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So shall I move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So basically the basis of the tax and indirect tax, that's one. And now we move on to the goods and service tax laws. What is the ideas that you are having goods and service tax? When it has been formed and what are the taxes under this? And whatever the understanding that you have, please let me know.
We understand that it is a destination-based tax. It is
Uh-huh.
collected for goods as well as services.
Right,
So we can take a ITC if it is goods move forward to another process.
right.
That means the final vendor going to pay tax. Until such
Right.
time, we can move on.
Okay.
This burden is to move on to avoid the double taxation, so that we are getting credit from the government. This and all
Double
we
taxation means tax on tax. Right?
tax on tax. Yes.
Okay, correct.
Hmm.
So rightly said, very good. And you have a better idea of the GST. So let me put some of my points to you as well. The goods and service tax has implemented with effect from 1st July 2007. And it is the comprehensive value added tax on supply of goods and services, which means the GST is only charging on the value added at each and every stage of supply. Whatever the value added happens, on that only GST getting charged. Third point, sorry. GST offers continuous chain of tax credit from the producer's point or service provider's point up to the consumer's level, thereby taxing only the value added at each stage of supply chain, which I've already told. Only value addition will be taxed, and there is no tax on tax or cascading of taxes under GST. Tamil said, you have said right. The tax on tax is not there in GST. So previously in STY law, like excise and VAT, okay, if you are buying a product, it consists of both excise duty as well as the VAT. You cannot avail the excise duty as an input credit against the payable of VAT, because the excise duty is governed by central government and the VAT is being governed by state government. But in the GST, they have removed this tax on tax thing. They are charging at a stage level, each and every stage. So instead of excise, they will charge the GST rate for that particular process. And again, it is coming for the sale means for example, manufacturer to the distributor and distributor to the consumer. Manufacturing charging GST and selling the product to the distributor, and distributor again selling back to the consumer. In this scenario, the distributor can avail the tax paid on the manufacturer, whatever the purchase GST can be set off against the GST payable. Okay. So here there is no tax on tax concept. Only the value addition. For value addition only, the distributor has to pay the tax. Okay.
Okay.
So all products and services are covered under GST except petroleum products like petroleum crude, our petrol, high-speed diesel, natural gas, and aviation turbine fuel, which are the products are not coming and covered under GST as of now. And also alcoholic beverages for human consumption. This is also not under GST aspect. Okay. And GST has adopted a dual tax model. Suppose any supplies within the state, then you can see the bills, both CGST and SGST will be there. The central GST and state GST. That is called dual tax model. And as he said, GST is a destination-based tax on supply of goods or services for a consideration subject to exemption thereof. So it is a destination-based tax. So whichever the state receiving the goods that state will get revenue. That is called destination-based tax. So any queries on this slide? Post lunchல கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டம் தான் செஷன்.
இல்ல இல்ல ஒண்ணு.
இல்ல சார்
நல்ல இன்டராக்ஷன் இருந்தா தான் வந்து நல்லா
Yes, sir.
இருக்கும். அதனால தான் கேக்குறேன்.
இல்ல சார் மூவ் ஆன் சார். ஏன்னா எனக்கு உள்ளார போயிட்டு எங்களுக்கு கொஞ்சம் எங்களோட ரியல் சேலஞ்ச் we are not able to score a good marks, because only we know the basic and where applicability is there, that only we know.
Okay.
Really, the academic angle we are not prepared. That is a problem we have.
Okay.
So we completely watching, sir. Please.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Thank you, sir.
So after GST, as you said, rightly said in the 246A articles, it was wealth tax was there and so tax were there. After GST, the Constitution has done the amendments to enable to make the law simple in line with GST provisions and rules. So to enable integration of central excise, custom duty, state VAT, service tax into a comprehensive goods and service tax. That's the reason we have amended the articles, okay? And also to empower both center and state to levy and collect tax simultaneously, jointly, rather, I would say jointly, okay? So this amendment has been passed through Constitution 101 Amendment Act. So shortly used to say CAA, Constitution Amendment Act. What it does? It empowers President to constitute GST Council as per Article 279A. It empowers the President. It gives power to the President to constitute the GST Council, and in turn GST Council will give recommendations, suggestions, rates, so and so that we will discuss in the coming slides. So prima facie, it gives empowers President to constitute the GST Council, and also it provides compensation to the states for loss of revenue for first to 5 years on account of GST introductions. Any laws that they are projecting, the rules and regulations and for the compensation to the states that they are defining in this amendment. And levy of integrated goods and service tax, IGST. Not only this levy, and also the mechanism of levy and collections and distribution to the states again, because the IGST is being governed by the central government. So IGST, goods and service tax, the mechanism of levy, collection and further distribution to the states, all those rules and regulations have been defined in Article 269A of the Constitution. And also it defines the principle for determining the place of supply also defines, and whatever the transitional provision. For example, festival you might have VAT credit or excise duty credit and like that. So how it has to be after GST, how we can avail those credits. Those kind of transitional provisions also getting covered in this Amendment Act. Any doubts?
Sorry, இங்க so SGST and GST both collected from central government. Then
No,
only
GST collecting by the state government and the CGST from the center by the center.
okay.
By paying the tax itself, we have to, in the GST return, while paying the tax itself, we have to select the two different heads. So
Okay.
accordingly, the state revenue will go to the state government and CGST will go to the central government.
Okay.
But IGST, it will go to the central government, and later on back end, they have a mechanism to distribute further to the state governments.
Okay.
That is how in news also people used to tell, my portion you are not giving, the union government is not giving the state portion.
So that is related to IGST only.
Related to IGST. However, if it is an intra-state supply, which means within the state supplies, the SGST will go to Tamil Nadu government and say, in Tamil Nadu I am saying, SGST will go to Tamil Nadu government and CGST will go to the central government.
Actually, what we understand, the SGST will be taken by the local government. That is the SGST fully 100% will be taken by the government where the transaction happened.
Okay.
But the GST and IGST, no sir, both will be collected by government, central government. But what proportion they return back to state government, sir?
No, that they have a separate mechanism, sir, based on the GST collections, something like that it is there.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So, need for GST in India. What are the deficiencies in the erstwhile indirect taxes? There was a multiple tax laws and procedures for each tax with respect to the return submissions and tax rates. You know, the imposition of tax on tax, that was that is a that was a drawback, and now after GST we are happy. Input tax credit chain broken as goods move from one state to another state, because once the CST come in place and then the availment of ITC is not there, and there was no simple online registration process for the excise or service tax or VAT. So there were, and also there was no specific threshold for across all the acts. Service tax might have 10 lakh rupee threshold limit for registration, and VAT has in some state 5 lakh rupee, and in some states it is 10 lakh rupee, and excise they have a separate threshold limit. So now in GST only one limit we are having, one or two. I'll just let you know in the coming slides. So these were the challenges that we have faced in the erstwhile indirect taxes. As a remedy measure, GST was introduced in the system with an idea of one nation, one tax. So with that, GST has come into picture. Shall I move on?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So yeah, one simple calculation if I took from the material, erstwhile tax impact, how it was. Suppose a transaction is happening between A and B. The sale price of the goods is 1 lakh rupee. It is interstate transaction, which is between the states. And A is adding the excise duty at a rate of 12% on the value added what he is doing. So 12,000 rupees is being charged on the 1 lakh. So sale price with excise duty is coming to 1,12,000. And then while selling from one state to another, he is adding central sales tax, which is CST at the rate of 2% on 1,12,000. So in 2,240 CST. So sale price and the sale price with ED and plus CST, total invoice value is coming to 1,14,240. At this stage, the tax we have paid to the government is 14,240. Okay. And then this entire this 10,000, sorry, again, so it ends now, A to B ends, and then B to C. B to C sale price, see the price of the base price itself 1,14,240, which has the tax component of 14,240, right? So that is the considered as the base price, and he is putting margin, which is value addition he is putting, which is 10,000 rupee. So the price of the product now is 1,24,240. And assume that it is an intrastate transaction. So it's an erstwhile tax impact. So VAT, I'm charging a rate of 12% on 1,24,240, which is coming to 14,909. We see the total VAT invoice value now at the end consumer at the point at the hand of C. The total value is 1,39,149 rupees. Right? So here the C is paying tax to the D indirectly paying tax to the government is 14,909. So overall, the government is getting 29,149 rupees. The purchase price of the B, which includes the central excise duty, central excise, and the CST. Since the tax on tax is adding on the product, at the end, the product is getting costlier.
Sir, what is the 10,000?
10,000 is the value addition each year.
Value added.
The profit you can assume, because you cannot sell the same price, right?
Correct.
But now not VAT, not sir. Only.
No, this is the old method there.
No. Even now also you will add some value, right?
Value, okay, VAT, sir. VAT
Value,
12%.
That, no, this is old impact I'm talking
Old
about.
impact. Okay, sir.
How it was in the S12 indirect tax.
Okay.
So this is structure before implementation of GST, and after GST, I just put excise duty. Actually it's a GST. Sorry, the transaction between A to B 1 lakh, and then add GST 12%. Then it is 1,12,000. Between B to C, the sale price is 1,10,000, not 1,12,000 plus 10,000. Right? Hello.
Sir. 1 lakh,
Yes.
1 lakh. But the
So here sale price is 1 lakh plus 10,000. Again value addition he does, and the price is becoming 1,10,000. And he is selling a product to C. B is selling a product to C after charging the GST at the rate of 12%, which is 13,200. Now the total value of the product in the hands of C is 1,23,200. The amount payable by B to the government, whatever the tax has been collected from C, which is 13,200, minus whatever the tax which he has paid to A, 12,000, is only the tax which is payable by the B to the government, which is 1,200 rupees. This 1,200 you can calculate indirectly whatever the value addition of 10,000 at the rate of GST of 12% only being paid by B. So as I told, whatever the GST on value added at each and every stage has to be borne by the seller.
It means B avail the tax for 12,000, right? Now, sir, excess duty.
Sorry.
When you A to B transaction, sell price is 1 lakh. Excess duty 12%.
No, that is actually GST. Sorry.
GST.
Yeah, GST at 12%.
12%. That they avail the 12,000 for input credit. Okay.
Correct.
When you make sales, they make 13,200. It's a net impact for 1,200 only.
Exactly.
So that is a value added tax, sir.
That is a value added tax. Now,
Tax.
because only B is adding value to that particular product is 10,000 only.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For which only B has to pay tax to the government.
Yes, understood, sir. But first slide, can you go to first slide, sir?
Yeah, I'll put.
So here also they take input credit 12,000. Correct?
No, they are not taking input credit. That is what I'm saying. That the total cost of the product itself after CST it has become 1,14,240.
Okay.
The B cannot take the input credit, excise and central tax because those tax governed by the central government. There was no provision against VAT liability. You can adjust the central excise and CST input credit. However, in GST, you can avail the GST what you have paid to the government in the previous process.
Okay.
You are getting my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, understood. Sir.
Yeah. அதனாலதான்.
அது ஆக்சுவலா அந்த பிரிட்டிஷ்ல இருந்து நமக்கு ஃபாலோ பண்ணுது சார்.
எது சார்?
அந்த எக்ஸைஸ் டியூட்டி அந்த மெத்தட். அதனால டாக்ஸ் அண்ட் டாக்ஸ் we are paying.
ஆமா, that is what tax on tax. See here 14,240 has been added to the product of 1 lakh rupee. That is a tax amount, 14,240. On 14,240, again I am paying a VAT of 12%. So tax on tax, VAT at the rate of 12% on 14,240. That is called tax on tax. Now in GST it is not there. That's why only 1 lakh rupee is there, and that plus whatever the value addition of the second person, from that only we are charging 12% GST and selling the product to C.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
So in GST, what are the tax has been included from both from the central taxes as well as the state taxes. From the central taxes, central excise has been included, additional duty of excise has been included, additional duty of customs like CVD and SAD has been included, and service tax has been included, surcharges and cess has been included. From the state tax point of view, value added tax, VAT has been included, CST has been included, purchase tax has been included, entertainment tax, luxury tax, tax on lotteries, betting and gambling. All these taxes now in GST. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Certain taxes still,
Yeah, continue, sir.
yeah, certain taxes still not covered in GST. Still, the central government is collecting tax and the basic custom duty central government is collecting. Research and development says export duty, anti-dumping duty, safeguard duty, all these things still under central government only. And state tax, if you see, state excise duty is still collecting, and stamp duty is being collected by state government. Professional tax being collected by state government, and motor vehicle tax is being collected by state government. In addition to this, whatever the products not covered under the GST, like petroleum products and alcohol, we have seen in the previous slide, right? The respective VAT also being collected by the state government, and the respective products excise also being collected by the central government.
For existing, same like this.
Sorry?
Existing method for excise duty.
Now, as of now, prevailing method I am saying.
So, okay, sir.
Like, இன்னும் வந்து டீசலுக்கு வந்து ஸ்டேட் கவர்மெண்ட் தான் வேட் போடுது. சென்ட்ரல் கவர்மெண்ட்டும் எக்ஸைஸ் போடுது. அந்த மாதிரி சொல்றேன். And then this we have already seen the types of GST. Intra-state supply. When there is a supply of goods within the state, both GST like CGST and SGST will be appeared in the invoice. CGST is Central Goods and Service Tax, which is levied and collected by the central government. State GST, State Goods and Service Tax, levied and collected by the state government. And if you see interstate supply between state, suppose I am sending the goods from Tamil Nadu to Pondicherry, then IGST, I have to charge IGST in the invoices, and which is the combination of the rate of both CGST and SGST. For example, if I am selling a product at the rate of 18% GST, within India means CGST 9%, SGST 9% I will charge in the invoice. Suppose if it is IGST, I will charge 18% as IGST and send the goods to Pondicherry. So interstate supply attracts IGST, levied and collected by the central government directly, and later on, as per the articles of the association, it will again give back the money to the state governments. Okay, how the goods and services being classified under GST? So for goods, harmonized system of nomenclature, which is basically used to tell HSN code. It is for goods. It is all the 1 to 8 series classifications are all are goods, and all 9 series the classifications are service, and service they are naming as the SAC, Service Accounting Code. So all the services, whatever the services, it will be only in the 9 series, and all the goods it will be only in the 1 to 8 series. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
So GST registration. So when the company or individual or any person, they want to get registered in GST, every supplier of goods and services is required to obtain registration in the state where he makes taxable supplies. Basically, across all the states, if you are rendering services during the financial year, if it exceeds 20 lakhs rupee, you have to get it yourself GST registered. If you are dealing with the trading of products and you are selling the products, goods means you have a limit of 40 lakhs. If you are selling the goods beyond 40 lakhs of turnover during the financial year, you bound to take the GST registration. This is the basic threshold limit that GST has now. So suppose any person are coming and asking you, what is the threshold? You can tell in Tamil Nadu for services it is 20 lakhs, for goods it is 40 lakhs. And GST is PAN-based registration is there. Suppose, for example, a company is having operations in all the states. That company has to get registered in GST for each and every state. If you have 33 state means the company should take 33 GST number for doing the business. So it's again a PAN-based registration, but for each state separate registration you have to take under one single PAN. However, there are certain cases, there is a mandatory registration is required that we'll see. And then there are states with threshold limit of 10 lakhs for goods and services like Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland and Tripura. 10 lakhs rupees is sufficient for them to get themselves under GST registration. And places like Arunachal Pradesh, states like Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Sikkim, Uttarakhand, Puducherry and Telangana, the threshold limit is 20 lakhs. So as a basic rule, 20 lakhs is eligible for getting registration for services and 40 lakhs is for goods. Any doubt?
No, sir. Continue.
Last 2 point மட்டும் கொஞ்சம்
லாஸ்ட் 2 பாயிண்ட்ஸ்ல வந்து ஜிஎஸ்டி ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷனுக்கு எலிஜிபிள் அந்த ஸ்டேட்ல வந்து 10 லட்சம் இருந்தா அந்த ஸ்டேட்ல ஜிஎஸ்டி எடுக்கணும். அண்ட் அதர் ஸ்டேட்ஸ்ல 20
அது
lakhs.
20 lakhs பதிலா நம்ம மத்த எல்லாம் 20 lakhs தான்
40 லட்சம் லிமிட் கிடையாது.
சார் இது கூட்ஸ் அண்ட் சர்வீஸ் ரெண்டுத்துக்குமே.
ஆமா, ரெண்டுத்துக்குமே
சேர்த்து 20 lakhs இந்த ஸ்டேட்டுக்கு.
ஆமா.
ஓகே. ஓகே சார்.
Okay. So GST common portal. So whatever the registration that we do, we have to access this web ID like www.gst.gov.in for registration, for filing the returns, for whatever the things that we are doing with GST. We have to access this website and create the login credentials, all those things. We can file those returns. The website is being managed by GSTN, Goods and Service Network, wholly owned subsidiary company. It establishes a uniform interface for the taxpayer. எல்லாருக்குமே ஒண்ணுதான் இந்த site. This is the common for all the taxpayers. You can access the site and you can file the return. Single platform for all GST related services. As I said, registration, filing, any refund claim or any annual return filing, whatever the things, same platform. It provides linkage to state tax departments, central tax authorities, taxpayers, banks, and other stakeholders. They can easily access state government and central government. They can easily access. They can see or what are the returns that you are filing, and stakeholders can see, and banks can see. Once you provide the login credentials, they can fetch the returns from the portal. So it's a common platform where everybody can access and take the relevant information as they need. So functions of GST network. What are the functions of GST network? Forwarding the returns to the central and state tax authorities. On regular basis, it forwards the return. Computations and settlement of IGST. As I showed, the GST network itself, based on rules defined in the articles of Constitution, it computes what is the settlement that I have to do from the central to state, that is getting computed over there. And matching of tax payment details with banking network. Suppose you would have paid the tax and the tax is not appearing in the ledger, means that's a duty of the GSTN to match the banking advice with the tax payment details. Providing various MIS report to the central and state tax authorities regarding the clients, the GST, what are the returns filed with the clients, and providing analysis of the taxpayer's profile. So it provides the taxpayer's profile also to the central and state tax authorities. And also in GST, now we are having the e-way bill generation, which is being used for transportation of the goods. It's an evidence, okay? It's an evidence for the transportation of goods from one place to another place. If the invoice is value, if the invoice value is more than 1 lakh. Only in Tamil
So
Nadu it
time
is
limit
1
for
lakh. For other
so
states
only
it is 50,000.
so time limit for e-way bills, sir, within 1 day or
Time limit actually 1 day. Yeah.
1 day. So one more thing, if you
After
individual,
invoice only you have to raise the e-way bill.
oh, after
Suppose,
invoice only.
sorry.
So one more thing. Hello.
Yeah, tell me, sir.
So individual also can create the GST number, no, sir? Account number. Individual also.
Yeah, proprietorship now, sir.
Proprietorship. Okay.
Sir, suppose
I'm doing business, I have to create GST on my own. If my services or goods income crosses the threshold limit, I have to get it registered myself.
sir, sorry, sir. Suppose I send your goods to Maharashtra.
Ah,
Definitely it will take more than a day. Okay, sir. Then e-way bill.
no, e-way bill,
Well,
you are sending the e-way bill along with your, once you start the dispatch,
okay.
invoice should be there, e-way bill should be there.
Okay. But you are saying now, sir, 24 hours validity.
No, generally people what they do for loading, they may take time.
Okay.
And for starting the vehicle also, they may take time.
Okay.
You can generate the e-way bill within 24 hours, I am saying. It's
Oh,
not that
within-
you have to generate.
Okay, okay. That means you are taking invoice date and e-way
See,
bill. The
as
gap
long
will
as
be
you
24 hours.
generate the invoice, that is a first step. And
Okay.
then you have to generate the e-way bill. Based on the invoice only, we can generate the e-way bill.
Okay.
In certain cases, what will happen, for sending the goods, suddenly they will generate the e-way bill with the manual invoice. Okay. And later on, they will generate the e-invoice or tally invoice. Once the goods get caught by the department, there will be a heavy penalty on that.
Okay.
So we have to ensure the invoice should take place first and then followed by the e-way bill.
E-way bill, any time limit is there, sir? How many days we can use the e-way bill? Like there anything is there?
No, it depends on the kilometers you are mentioning, right? Depends
Yes,
on the
sir.
kilometer. Suppose if it is, there is a table over there. If it is this much kilometer means 3 days it's valid.
Okay.
So one more thing. If a 31st night I make the invoice.
Yes.
Next month, first morning, I make the e-way bill.
Okay.
So it is a consider for revenue for which month?
This is a hypothetical question as per in revenue recognition under accounting standard. Once it is reached the client, that can be considered as sales.
Okay.
So in GST portal, whether you are raising an invoice, but the goods has to reach the customer. If within Tamil Nadu and அடுத்த ஸ்டேட்ல இருக்காங்கல்ல அடுத்த டிஸ்ட்ரிக்ட்ல இருக்காங்கன்னா if it reaches, okay, you can consider the sales. But my suggestion to you, once you are generating the e-way invoice, you simultaneously generate the e-way bill as well.
Subhash, I think it is based on the income tax also. Because if it is X works, it is moved from our gate, they will recognize. If it is CA, another income tax, no. So for the CAF or a DOP.
Right, insurance, right. FAR.
So based on that, the standard revenue will be different. But GST law, I think, as Sir rightly said, it is this control purpose only.
Okay.
Based on the GST law, we are not recognizing the revenue.
So based on the GST law, once the invoice being generated, it has to be considered as sales.
Yes,
and
sir.
you have to charge GST. But my
Yes, sir.
suggestion to you, don't wait for next day to raise e-way bill.
No. Every company has make the same time e-way bill also.
Yeah.
Understanding purpose only I ask you.
No, understand purpose பண்ணாதீங்க.
Okay.
But the rule is allowing you to generate, but don't do that.
Okay.
Anything?
No, sir, continue, sir.
Okay. So GST Council, Article 279A. So this article empowers the president, as I told, to constitute the joint forum of central and state, which is called as GST Council. It mainly consists of the Union Finance Minister should be there, the Union Minister of State in charge of revenue should be there, and the Minister in charge for finance for each and every state or their representative or not any person nominated by the state government should be there. So these are the members who are attending our for forming part of the GST council. And the council shall make any recommendations to the union and state on either it may be on tax rates or it may be on cess rate or surcharges or whatever. And whatever the list of goods and services that may be subjected to or exempted from GST. You might see many GST council meetings is happening, and then they might take a decision. Suppose if they have charged 28% for some products. In this GST council, we got the representation from industry. The industry wants to reduce the rate from 28 to the next slab, which is 18%. So these are the discussions will happen in the GST council, and the council can recommend, okay, we can brought down the tax from this rate to this rate, or we can increase the tax from this rate to this rate because that product is moving more in the market. Anything they can decide on the assigning the tax rates of the particular product, and then the list of goods and services. And even the threshold limits can also be amended. And what are the principles of levy also can be amended. The apportionment principles of IGST, till this year we have done this way, and after this year we have to do this way. Whatever the suggestions or recommendations that can be discussed in the councils and given to the parliament for passing the law. So provisions related to special category states, the 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs threshold limit can also be revised, and any amendment in the adjudication procedures which has been laid down in the previous this recommendations passed by the previous meeting, all those things they can recommend further changes, amendments, we can say. So the meeting is valid once the quorum is once the quorum of 50% of the members should present to validate the meeting, and whatever the decisions is being taken in the GST council by not less than 3/4 of the weighted votes of central and states, then only that has become a recommendation that can be passed, that can be sent to the parliament for passing. So any clarifications?
Here minimum 50%, sir.
Minimum 50% members should be present in the meeting.
Okay.
Otherwise, that mean the meeting itself is invalid. Which is called a quorum. Quorum should present. Any meeting, not only in the GST council meeting, even if the board meeting also, you need a quorum to present.
Sir,
Sorry,
here
you
the
asked
presenting. Sorry. Sir, the Union Finance Minister from central government side, Union Minister from the state government, and what about the Union territory, sir? They also have the rights to do that?
Yeah. State government includes Union territory also, sir. I have not mentioned here.
Oh.
Pondicherry, they are not charging UGST. They started charging SGST only.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So what are the benefits that are available to the trade and industry after implementation of GST? Seamless flow of tax credit. I can avail the previous purchase tax against the payable of the sales tax. Okay. And then there is only one procedure for all the laws like registration, common procedure. There is no separate, previously it was separate procedure were there. Now there is no not. That is a benefit to the trade and industry for doing their business easy. Benefits of composition scheme. In GST, there is a provision called the composition scheme. If the small business only they are doing means they have to get registered under GST under composite scheme. Okay, composite scheme means they need not to charge any GST in their invoices, but they can pay lesser tax to the government. That is called a composite scheme. So generally people are registered themselves under regular scheme, and there are some limitation to the composition scheme also that we will see in the coming slides. But this benefit also is being availed in the GST law. charging the registering themselves under composition scheme. Up to 75 lakhs of turnover, you can register yourself. For that, certain conditions are there. You should not do interstate transaction, and you should not charge any GST in your invoices. Like that, conditions are there. So, but you have a privilege of availing the composition scheme in GST. Yes, that benefit is there for the.
They will avail for GST credit also, does compensation?
No, they cannot avail.
They
Because
cannot avail.
they are not charging, they cannot avail also.
They cannot charge the invoice, but they cannot. Okay.
See,
But only the benefit for lesser rate.
Lesser rate. 5% they need not to pay. 1% you can pay.
Okay.
And you need not to worry for whether whatever the sales that you are doing, you have to pay the tax accordingly to that.
Okay, sir. So what about thing? The GST input credit, how many days, sir? If I make I purchase for April month, what is the time limit?
You can avail the ITC within 180 days. The law allows you to take within 180 days.
180 days. Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
So, to the economy, what are the benefits after implementation of GST? It boosts investments and exports. Since the common tax rates for the products, so there will be a across India, I'm saying. So it attracts the foreign investments and start exporting the goods, so that even the employment also getting benefited. Employment, the people, more people will get employed because more investments, more companies coming, like that. So it contributes to the economy also, the GST impact, like to make India a common market with common rates and procedures. Okay. And it is being a simplified tax structure, simpler tax regime only. There is no complexity involved. Common laws, procedures, and rates of taxes across the country. Common system of classification of goods and services mainly, and the same threshold limits across states other than some specified states, and easy tax compliance. Like everything is online only. There is no physical manual intervention is not there. Like previous tax and all, we have to submit the VAT. We have to go for VAT assessment with the department directly. We have to submit all the records and everything. Now everything is online, so you can file your return online. You can pay the tax online. You can go for registration online. All verifications, everything is being done in online. So tax compliance become easy for the business people, and with the greater use of IT, replace the manual interface between taxpayer and tax administration. As I said, we have to submit the documents to the tax authorities. That only I have pointed out. So these are the benefits to the economy, to the trade people and industry people, whoever does the business. So these are the benefits from the DST point of view.
Okay.
So there are definitions which need to be remembered in the GST. Taxable event. In the first slide itself, I have showed between direct tax and indirect tax classifications. Okay, the taxable event starts once the supply of goods initiates, or supply of goods or services initiate. The taxable event also has come into place. Okay. So supply of goods or services or both. So this is the supply, and goods means section 252 states every kind of movable property other than money and securities, but includes actionable claims, growing crops, grass and things attached to or forming part of the land, which are agreed to be severed before supply or under the contract of supply. So all kinds of movable property, but not cash or money or securities. These are excluded from the goods. Rather, it would exclude from the GST itself, but includes the crops and things attached to the government, attached to the land, sorry. And when it comes to services, section 2(102) defines services means other than goods. That's it. Other than goods, money and securities, but includes any consideration on use or conversion of money, which means suppose you are exchanging money, on that you are paying something for exchanging that currencies, then that also considered as a services. You are getting? Hello?
Sir.
Yeah, continue, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
So taxable supply, section 2108 defines a supply of goods or services or both which is leviable to tax under this act is called taxable supply. So person means all kinds of person will come in this GST Act. According to section 284, an individual, a person includes an individual, a chief, a company, a firm, LLP, any corporation, local authority, then AOI and body of individuals, trust, cooperative societies, and every artificial judicial person. So all kinds of people will come under the GST and called as a person. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So then coming to supply. So just 1 minute. Okay. Supply. Supply section 7 of the CGST Act tells what is supply. All forms of supply of goods or services are both such as sale, transfer, barter, exchange, license, rental, lease, or disposal made or agreed to be made for a consideration by a person in the course or furtherance of business. Actually, it has plenty of meaning in these 3 lines. So what do you mean by sale? Any example you can give? Hello?
Hello. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what do you mean by sale?
Well, it means sale of goods to others like this.
Okay. Transfer,
Stock transfer, one plant to another plant.
super. Barter,
Sir?
barter.
I don't.
Barter is exchange of services.
Okay.
For example, I am getting service, I am going and I'm going for a medical checkup and the doctor is service provider, right? And
Yes.
in turn, I am filing the income tax return of doctor. So each consideration is getting offset with the each services.
Okay.
That is called barter. Exchange,
So, it means exchange of service or
anything, exchange of goods, anything you can say.
it means I transfer to if what I do job work like this job work. I give the raw material. They will some more activity addition. They will transfer to.
So this is exchange. Whatever you are saying is the product movement process you are saying. For example, tell sir, Tamil Nidhi.
Money exchange.
Sorry sir.
Money exchange.
Foreign money exchange.
No, not that exchange. Sorry.
Okay.
This exchange is nothing but I am having an old mobile, I am buying a new mobile, so exchange of mobiles.
Okay, exchange of.
Exchange offer. License, rental, lease, for staying purpose, okay, or using the plant and machinery or whatever it is.
Okay.
So each and every word is forming part of the supply only. And for a consideration, which means what?
It's a benefit, sir.
It should be, it's not free.
It's not free, right? Okay. So for a consideration, you have to give something for to get something, right?
Okay.
So that is called consideration. So here I just put you some examples. Just tell me whether it is a supply or not. Okay. Donation to charitable institution.
No, sir.
Why no, sir?
It is come under the.
They will not avail any benefits, sir. They send them, give the money only.
Okay. They are receiving the money.
There is no consideration.
No, consideration is there now, you are paying money.
Like we are only giving money to the
The transaction, money
consideration
is
we received
involved
from-
here.
Yeah, money is involved, sir.
Hmm.
But in turn, we are not getting any benefit out of it.
Exactly. So there is no obligation for charitable institution to give some back to us, right?
Yes. Yes.
That is the reason it is not a supply. Let me put another thing. Artwork. Artist is there, na?
Yes, sir.
Artwork
Yes, sir.
It's a
sent by
service.
artist to gallery for exhibition.
It's a service, sir.
It is not a supply, sir.
Why it is not a
No,
supply?
it is not at all service also. Because once it is going to sale from the art gallery, then it will be a supply.
Hmm.
Giving the
It's
art
a what
gallery, the
purpose of it,
ownership is
sir?
not transferred.
Yeah.
Ownership still lying with him only, sir.
Correct. So it is not a supply.
Yes.
Okay.
Ownership is not transferred.
Okay. So person already you have seen in the above thing by any person, all put everybody can, an individual can do the transaction with a firm or company, anything can happen, right? And the second highlighted one, course or furtherance of business. What is that?
It should be, again, it is going to be moved to some, that is not an end product. That means if it is it's going to customer, then there is no further business. Until such time, it will be move on to next level. That's what the furtherance of business, sir. Is it
Okay. No, actually it should be for the business transaction.
Yes.
Course of business means business transaction, or furtherance of business means any activities as it associated with the business. For example, in the VAT period, if you are buying a vehicle and using it for the transportation of goods from one place to another, you cannot avail the input tax credit on the purchase of the vehicle, purchase cost. Whatever the GST available on the purchase, right? You are not eligible to avail the ITC. Even though the vehicle is being used for your business for transporting goods from one place to another, you are not eligible to avail the ITC, VAT credit. You are getting my point?
Sir.
However, in GST, since the word furtherance, it's help us to people, whatever the services, whatever the goods which we are buying, and which is for the 100% is for the business purpose, you are eligible to avail the ITC on the vehicle which is being used for the transportation of goods for the business purpose. Generally,
Yes,
people used to tell blocked credit vehicle irukku அப்படின்லாம். But what is the purpose of vehicle you have to see. The purpose of vehicle is only for the
Yes, sir.
business. You are eligible to take ITC. That is called the furtherance of business. Furtherance
Yes.
means it is also related for the business.
Okay.
Suppose an individual buys a car from a dealer. After 2 years, he sells back the car to the dealer. Whether is it a supply?
Yes, sir. This supply only.
No, basically, it is not a supply.
Okay.
If
But
suppose
RCM
you are
we are trying.
individual,
Uh,
when you are selling the car, we are not charging GST, right?
yes.
Yeah, it is
Yes.
not a supply, basically.
But RCM attractability, sir.
RCM la varadu, sir. And the unregistered RCM and all, it has gone with effect from 19th of October 2017 itself, it has gone.
Okay. Okay.
Any transaction with unregistered, you have to pay RCM and all was gone.
Okay.
Okay. Suppose you are running a club, okay, and you are giving some facilities to your members for consideration. Whether is it is a supply?
It's a service only, no, sir?
Yes. So supply, you are saying it is a service. Correct, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, you are right. It is a supply. Anything, the consideration is involving and it is the course of business or furtherance of business, then it is a supply. However, there are two exceptions to this. Second point I am coming. Importation of services. Suppose import of services. Outside people is providing services to us, services to you, which is import of services. For a consideration, whether or not on the course of furtherance of business. The course of furtherance of business is not necessary here. Whether consideration is there, if it is an import of services, yet it is a supply. Are you there?
Yeah, yes, sir. Your
Okay.
voice is
Okay. My voice is clear, right? Or any disturbance is there?
disconnected sometimes, sir.
Clear, sir.
Clear, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So import of services means you have to see whether it is a supply. To determine whether it is a supply or not, you have to see only the consideration is involved here or not. If the consideration is involved, then it is classified as supply. Whether it is for the business use or not, it is immaterial. It is not necessary to see whether it is to determine whether it is supply or not. For example, I am building a property, a house.
Okay.
I am getting an architect services from the other outside India. Outside India is giving a mapping or a layout or something, design or something. Those services for consideration only, I am getting services from him. In this case, this is called as import of services. Whether here it is a further course of business or furtherance of business, no. Myself and him, there is no business related transaction. So there is no necessary whether it should have a course or furtherance of the business. The consideration is there. If it is an import of services, yes, we can consider this as a supply.
But that,
Yeah.
so one more thing.
Now,
That importer services, they
Ah.
are provided service, they are
Right.
making consideration. For you are making the individual house.
yes, I am building an individual house. I am
Individual.
getting an services from him.
Services. That person
That person,
business, they make business, the person making business, for
it
service
is
business.
supply only I am saying.
Okay, sir.
It is supply only I am saying. What I am saying, in the previous condition, what we told, there should be a consideration. There should be a course or furtherance of business should be there. But here, the course or furtherance of business condition is not necessary to see.
Okay.
That is what I am saying in case of import of services.
Okay.
It is a business for him. It is
Yeah.
a consideration involved.
Yes.
And it is a supply. Okay. Yeah. So there are activities or transaction which has been specified in Schedule 1. Okay. Without consideration. But still the transaction or activities will be called as a supply. So we will see what are those in the coming slide. Any doubt in this point, because it's very, very important. Maybe the theoretically people might ask you whether it is construed as a service, whether it is a supply. If the consideration is not involved, whether it is a supply, they can come up with the different scenarios and they can question you whether it will treated as supply or not. So,
okay.
And whatever the sale, transfer, barter, whatever I have reported here, it's not an exhaustive list. It is just a illustrative only.
Okay.
You remember one thing, the transaction, whether the transaction involved consideration and it is for the business purpose or furtherance of business, then you can consider that as a supply.
Okay. Import
Only
services also they consider supply.
Yes, only in the case of import of services, that furtherance the business and the course of business and furtherance of business, you need not to see that parameter in case of import of services.
Okay.
But consideration should be there.
Okay.
If the consideration is not there, then it is not a supply.
It means donation, like this donation.
Yeah, correct. So third one, activities specified in Schedule 1 made or agreed to be made without consideration. There are activities or transactions for which there is no consideration involved, but it is course or furtherance of business. Those activities or transaction can be considered as supply. Okay. So what are those? Permanent transfer, disposal of business asset without consideration is treated as supply. Only the input credit has been availed on such asset. Okay. I am stopping here. Permanent transfer or disposal of business asset without consideration is treated as supply. Only the input credit has been availed on such asset. For example, you are closing down one particular company, assuming,
Okay.
and you have availed the ITC on those assets. Okay. For example, you bought an AC or you bought an plant and machinery, and it is furtherance of business, and you have availed the input tax credit in your books. While selling permanently, the word permanent is important. Permanently selling all those business assets without consideration. You are thinking that it has become scrap, nobody can buy. You are selling the product. Okay. You are selling those assets means it is a supply. When it is become supply, once you have availed the input tax credit on such asset only, then it has become supply. Suppose you are having a building alone. You have constructed and you have a building. That building you are selling. On that you have not availed any ITC. Okay. That which means you are selling that building means which is not considered as a supply. Even without consideration.
Sir, can you tell me, repeat it again for building point of view, sir? Can you explain a bit?
Construction of building generally no ITC is allowed. It is blocked credit.
Okay.
Because once you avail the ITC and you are selling the building, you are selling the asset without consideration, okay, then only it can be considered as a supply. Since it is a blocked credit, I have not availed. If I am selling the building without consideration, it is not supply. That is called I am saying in the second line, provided the ITC should not come under blocked credit category.
Okay, sir.
Okay. You have to avail that ITC on such asset. Otherwise, it cannot be treated as supply.
Okay.
Second, supply between related person and distinct person without consideration. So what do you mean by related person?
It means family members or this.
No, this is the business transaction, right? Family members. In case of HUF only.
It's a one.
We have holding the share, or we have the rights to have the business.
Exactly. Any supply between your related person means holding the shares can be a related person. Yes. So any transaction between them, okay, without consideration can also be considered as a supply.
Okay.
And what is a distinct person?
There is no connectivity.
There is no connectivity. No. The business connectivity should be there.
Sir,
All these conditions, furtherance of business only.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Distinct person means, suppose I am a practicing chartered accountant. I am having an office in Chennai. Suppose if I am having a branch in Bangalore, any transactions between Chennai and Bangalore without consideration also can be treated as supply. You are getting? Distinct person. The person is unique, but having branches in one state to another state.
Okay.
So any transaction between related person or distinct person without consideration, that also be considered as a supply.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Understood, sir.
And third, stock transfer or branch transfer of different registration by same legal entity except within states. Generally, stock transfer consideration will not be involved, right? Just we will transfer. Same legal entity, one company having multiple registration, different registration is called multiple registration across states. One, suppose for example, I would take an example of Ultratech Cement. Ultratech Cement is having almost with all the states, it's having a GST registration. Suppose they are transferring goods from Tamil Nadu to Karnataka without consideration because it's a stock transfer.
Okay.
But it will be called as supply. Suppose within state, one company, for example, சென்னையில இருந்து காஞ்சிபுரம் அனுப்புறேன் அப்படின்னா அது சப்ளை கிடையாதுன்றாங்க. The stock transfer or branch transfer, if it happens within the state without consideration, it is not to consider as a supply. The stock transfer or branch transfer of different registration without consideration, it will be considered as a supply. இது வரைக்கும் நல்லா தான் சார் போயிட்டு இருந்துச்சு அப்படின்றீங்களா?
Can you repeat again, sir? Can you repeat again, sir?
Okay. The stock transfer, I am sending goods from one place to one state to another state without consideration in simple terms. Okay. It is a supply. A stock transfer happening one place, the factory, suppose factory also in Tamil Nadu, godown also in Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
A goods is being moved from factory to godown, which is located, both the places located in Tamil Nadu, without consideration, then it is not supply. நீங்க என்ன பண்ணலாம், அதுல வந்து டிசி மட்டும் போட்டுடலாம். இட்ஸ் a ஸ்டாக் டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு, இட்ஸ் நாட் a சப்ளை அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க.
Okay.
Okay. Supply of goods between principal agent without consideration will also be considered as a supply. இதுல வந்து ஏன் குட்ஸ் வந்து கேபிட்டல் வச்சிருக்கேன்னா, சர்வீசஸ் பிரின்சிபல் அண்ட் ஏஜென்ட்டுக்கு சர்வீசஸ் அப்ளிகபிள் ஆகாது. சப்போஸ் சப்ளை ஆஃப் சர்வீசஸ் பிட்வீன் பிரின்சிபல் அண்ட் ஏஜென்ட் வித்தவுட் கன்சிடரேஷன் தான் அது வந்து இட்ஸ் கிடையாது. ஸோ ஒன்லி சப்ளை ஆஃப் குட்ஸ் மட்டும்தான் இருக்கும். சப்ளை ஆஃப் குட்ஸ் பிட்வீன் பிரின்சிபல் அண்ட் ஏஜென்ட் வித்தவுட் கன்சிடரேஷன் will also be considered as a supply. Okay. And third, no, sorry, last, importation of services from a related person outside India also without consideration can also be treated as a supply. Any question? இல்ல இன்னொரு தாட்டி சொல்லணும், நானும் சொல்றேன்.
ஆமா சார், இன்னொரு வாட்டி கான்செப்ட் எக்ஸ்பிளைன்.
Okay. So this slide I should repeat or any previous slides?
This slide.
Okay. There are activities or transactions, okay, for which there is no consideration involved, but there is a course of or furtherance of business will be there. இதுல ரெண்டு பேராமீட்டர் இருக்கும் சப்ளைக்கு. ஒன்று வந்து கன்சிடரேஷன் இருக்கணும், இன்னொன்று வந்து இது பிஸ்னஸோட ரிலேட்டடாக இருக்கணும். இட்ஸ் அ கோர்ஸ் ஆஃப் பிஸ்னஸ்னா பிஸ்னஸோட ரிலேட்டடாக இருக்கணும். அதுதான் சப்ளை நம்ம சொல்லியிருக்கோம். செகண்ட் என்ன சொல்லுது, இம்போர்ட் ஆஃப் சர்வீசஸ் கேட்டகரியில் நீங்க வந்து இது பிஸ்னஸ் ரிலேட்டடா இருக்கா இல்லையான்றது நெசசிட்டி கிடையாது. உங்களுக்குள்ள கன்சிடரேஷன், நீங்க அந்த டிரான்சாக்ஷனுக்கு ஒரு அமௌண்ட் வாங்குறீங்க அப்படின்னா, சம்திங் யூ ஆர் கெட்டிங் ஃபார் த டிரான்சாக்ஷன், இட் ஹாஸ் டு பி கன்சிடர்ட் அஸ் சப்ளைன்னு சொல்றாங்க. மூணாவது என்ன சொல்றாங்க? there are activities or transaction which does not involve consideration. அதுல பணம் வந்து வாங்குறது கொடுக்கறது எதுவும் கிடையாது. ஆனா அது பிஸ்னஸ் நேச்சரோட நம்மளுடைய பார்ட் ஆஃப் பிஸ்னஸா இருந்ததுன்னா it can be considered as சப்ளைன்னு சொல்றாங்க. there are 5 points which have been mentioned. அதுல ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பாயிண்ட், permanent disposal of business asset without consideration is treated as supply only the ITC has been availed on such asset. If you have not availed the ITC on those assets, even though if you are selling that asset without consideration, it will not be considered as a supply. Are you clear on first point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Supply between related person. So one person is holding more shares or one person is influencing on the decision of others, which means it is a related person. And even if it is a distinct person having office in the two places but controlled by one person, it's called a distinct person. Any transactions between related person or distinct person without consideration can also be considered as a supply, provided it should be part of the business. Any stock transfer or branch transfer of different registration by the same legal entity without consideration, that is also considered as a supply. Supply of goods between principal and agent.
Sir, one more thing. I have one doubt.
Yes.
Transfer, same registration, they don't have margin price.
Same registration.
Margin வைக்க மாட்டாங்க. The margin வைக்க மாட்டாங்க. So if a different registration, they put margin also, sir.
Different registration margin போடுவாங்களா?
ஆமா. Same price தான போவாங்க.
சரி.
இல்ல மார்க்கப் வைக்கணுமான்னு கேக்குறேன் சார்.
இல்ல மார்க்கப் பண்ண வேண்டாம். எதுக்கு பண்றீங்க?
வைப்பாங்களா சார்? அங்க கன்சிடரேஷன் இருக்குல்ல.
புரியல. இல்ல உங்களுக்கு you are not selling to the customer, right? Then why you are doing markup?
அதான் கேக்குறேன். மார்க்கப் தேவையா நமக்கு?
மார்க்கப் தேவையில்லையே.
இல்ல டிஃபரண்ட் ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் பண்ணும்போது
ப்ரீவியஸா இருக்குறதுல 110% மார்க்கப் வச்சு சொல்றீங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
இல்ல அப்படி சொல்லல சார். இப்போ சேம் ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன்னா அவங்க மார்க்கப் வைக்க மாட்டாங்க. இப்போ டிஃபரண்ட் ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் இருக்கும்போது
மார்க்கப் ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன்னா நான் ஒரே என்டிட்டி கீழ சொல்றேன்.
ஓகே.
One Ultratech having different state registration, and the different registration சொல்றேன்.
Okay.
It is not one B2B transaction சொல்லல.
Okay.
So next சொல்றேன், supply of goods between principal and agent without consideration will be considered supply. Importation of services from a related person who is staying outside India and it is without consideration means also considered as a supply.
அந்த லாஸ்ட் பாயிண்ட் பண்ணு சரி. அது எப்படி சார்? இம்போர்ட்டேஷன் ஆஃப் சர்வீஸ் ஃப்ரம்
இம்போர்ட்டேஷன் ஆஃப் சர்வீசஸ்க்கு முன்னாடி என்ன சொன்னோம்? கன்சிடரேஷன் மட்டும் இருந்தா போதும். ஃபர்தர் பிசினஸ் அந்த கோர்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஃபர்தரன்ஸ் ஆஃப் பிசினஸ் தேவையில்லைன்னு சொன்னோம்.
ஓகே.
இங்க என்ன சொல்றேன்? இம்போர்ட்டேஷன் ஆஃப் சர்வீசஸ் ஃப்ரம் a related person.
Okay.
For example, subsidiary company and the group company. Subsidiary company in India and group company in the outside India.
Okay.
Any services that you are getting from your group company without consideration can also be considered as a supply, I'm saying.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Here, this is schedule 2. They have described few activities or transactions for the common understanding whether it is a supply of goods or services அப்படின்ற ஒரு ambiguity இருக்கக்கூடாதுன்றதுக்காக they have given transfer of title in goods. For example, land நான் விக்கிறேன். I am transferring the title to the another person, which means it is called Land எடுத்துக்காதீங்க, building, because land GST கிடையாது. Any asset, okay. So supply of goods தான் consider பண்ணிப்பாங்க, which is not classified as supply of services. நான் transfer தான், title தானே transfer பண்றேன், why can't you classify as services? அப்படிலாம் கிடையாது. It is a supply of goods. Any lease to occupy land. Here you are having a right to stay there, occupy the asset, or use the asset, use the plant and machinery. So which is called supply of services. Even though you are in a possession of that property, but you are not owning the property, right? Which is called supply of services. It is not supply of goods. Treatment or process in another person's goods. Suppose you are sending goods. For example, you are running a fabric, you are a fabric manufacturer, and you are giving the fabric to the washing. You are outsourcing that services. So you are sending the products there, and the fabric is getting washed over there, and that person is charging. Even though he is receiving the goods and doing some process, but what kind of process involved? Whether is any treatment is happening or any process is involved in terms. So washing only does means, then it is called as supply of services. So it depends on the process involved. Suppose he is putting another product and joining together and selling the product, selling as a product means, then it will be classified as the goods, supply of goods. Here, what is the process involved? What is the treatment is happening for the particular product? Accordingly, whether it is a supply of services or goods. But what I mean here, process involved, saying washing, dyeing, or any putting hole in the products. Okay. So any kind of services which the job worker does, and does not affect the, and any it will be come as a product only services only they would have done. That is called as the supply of services. Any construction activities that you do, it is also comes under supply of services only. Composite supplies. Why composite supply? Works contract involves labor as well as material, but predominantly this is based on the labor services. So the government has given a clarification, all works contract will come under the supply of services. Any doubt in this?
Also confused.
Sir, the composite supply, sir.
Ah,
We have some detail in it, because composite supply means the two different HSN codes or two different rates will be supplied as a one supply, or what, sir?
no, that is also there, sir. What you are saying is, suppose if I am selling two different products, one product is attracting 5%, another product is attracting 12%. When there is a composite supply, the highest rate of tax will be considered as the GST rate for chargeability. What I mean here, goods also involved and services also involved. So whether that services will be classified as goods or supply of services. On that angle, I am saying all the works contract will comes under supply of services, sir.
Okay, okay.
See, this is to overcome the ambiguity, whether it is comes under supply of goods, whether it is comes under the supply of services. To clarify only, all this has been given, sir.
That means it is only labor charges which are charged with the goods.
Supply of services, avladhaan.
Okay.
Works contract is
Don't tell that is a labor services, and don't tell that is a supply of goods. It's a supply of services. That's it. Because in the erstwhile scenario, for goods we have to pay VAT, and for services we have to pay service tax. Okay. And the fourth category, schedule 3, it talks about negative list or non-supplies under GST. These are the services will not comes under the GST. Supply ne solla matanga. It will not, it is not considered as a supply. What are those? Number one, services rendered by employee to employer in relation to his employment. These are the services will not be considered as supply. Apart from in relation to employment, if you are doing any services and you are getting a consideration, then it will be considered as a supply. Any services rendered by the employee to employer in relation to his employment, which cannot be considered as a supply. However, any consideration apart from this you are rendering to your employer, which means it will be considered as a supply. Second, services by any court or tribunal established under any law, that also cannot be considered as a supply. Function by member of parliament, member of state legislature, members of panchayat, municipalities and members of local authorities. Anything, any functions by the members of these will not be considered as a supply. Services of funeral, burial, crematorium and mortuary, including transportation of the deceased person, also cannot be considered as a service. Sale of building, where entire sale consideration received after issuance of completion certificate, this also cannot be considered supply and no GST will be chargeable on it. நீங்க வந்து நிறைய you would have seen some advertisement 80 lakhs without GST we are selling the property, which means they would have got the completion certificate, and once the completion certificate they have received and they are selling the product after that, then there is no need to charge GST. These are the exemptions given in the negative list as per Schedule 3 of the Section 7 of the CGST Act.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I've just, I think 1.5 hours only has been done so far, right?
Yeah.
So we'll just recollect the points, what and all we have discussed. Okay.
Right.
And after that, if you have any queries or questions also, I'll be answered to you.
Can you
These
share
are the
this-
basic things. Sorry?
after complete the session? Can you share this slide, sir?
Yeah, definitely I will share with you, sir.
Yes, sir. So we
I'll
have-
just check with the academy, what is the procedure and all. Accordingly, I will share, sir. Okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So any doubts or any common questions can also be, I am privileged to answer you for that.
So now, exam point of view,
Ah,
how we need to prepare, sir, because this was more important for
from
us.
point of view, the 5% is giving coverage for the basics. Okay, I've seen the syllabus, just I'll present the syllabus 1 minute. You're able to see the screen, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is the weightage they are given for each and every topic. Concept of direct taxes, indirect tax, nothing. And only the basic principles have been given and the constitution principles have been given. And you just go through the questionnaire at the end of the each this thing. so that whether you will be able to answer for those slides based on the presentations and everything. Definitely you will be able to answer for those questions which is being given in the end of the each chapter. Okay.
Okay. Concept only 5%. Okay. Maybe the all are problem or theory based, sir.
Theory also will
Exams.
be there, case laws will be there. For example, as I asked you, one person is selling a car with the exchange, whether it is a supply or not, that can also be asked.
Okay.
Tell me what are the benefits that is for the to the economy, and what are the GST benefits that is being transferred to the economy because of the GST implementation. What are the benefits? Anything can be asked, but once you are strong with the basics or once you are strong with the concepts, you can manage any questions. For example, if anybody asked about the what is the registration process, means you can tell any person doing the business for the current financial year, more than if in case of services more than 20 lakhs, then supposed to be get themselves as a under GST registration. In case of goods, they have to get registered if it crosses 40 lakhs. And for these states, special states are there for which special threshold limit has been given, and GST registration can be done in the GST portal. Online procedures are there. See, these are all basics, right? So what are the questions that you are facing? Once you know the basics and once you know the subject matter, you can write everything.
So the same paper, 50% weightage on indirect tax and 50% weightage on direct tax.
Yeah, this is 50, that is 50, I believe.
Okay.
Direct tax is 50. I think morning you would have attended the direct tax class, right?
I mean, no, sir. Actually, today we have only a costing class. Law class is cancelled.
Morning I have seen law. I think faculty is not well. That's why he cancelled that.
Cancelled that one.
Okay, okay. I have seen that 1 minute. I have seen that direct tax class also was there. You have
Evening,
not.
evening, sir. Evening is a class, sir.
Evening.
Yes. Evening only. 6:30 to 8:30.
Correct, sir.
Correct, correct. So next time maybe I'll just come up with the further more slides, because you people are in the regular functions of finance. So you are able to grasp it very fastly. Correct.
We also, sir, will work out many questions and we will come up with the queries to you so that it will help us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
So whatever the things which I have discussed, just go through the study materials or whatever the materials that you are referring. Just go through those materials and whatever which we have discussed during the day. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So whether it is line with the material, what I have spoken to you and what is given in the material is in line with, or any clarifications or something, you can ask me in the next session.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we'll meet tomorrow. Between 10 to 12, I believe.
Okay, sir. Sure, sure.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Sir, can you share the slide also? Is it possible?
That's what I'll just check with the academy, and accordingly I will share the slide.
Please, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you.